Here's your host, Alex Garrett.
All right, and with me now on the adapting side of the Alex Garrett Podcast Network is a guy by the name of Derrek. You might know his Twitter brand. You might know his brand, Derrek's Bags. And Derrek's Bags was founded by someone by the name of Derrek Cooke, who was born with this birth defect, Spina Bifida. Now, I've talked with Joe Salonica. I've talked with Danny Voice. I've talked with others about Spina Bifida, and have another person involved in this conversation who's actually doing something that changed lives is awesome. So Derrek Cooke, thanks for joining me. You are 33 years old, correct?
Yes, I am. Thank you for having me on, Alex. I just actually turned 33. 22 days. 22 days ago. Yeah.
So you're a Libra also. That's awesome. So, I imagine you started Derrek's Bags because of your story and how you found yourself needing to carry a bunch of supplies. But let's get to your story. Where does it begin? And let's start there in Spina Bifida Awareness Month.
All right. Well, I was born here in Orange County, New York. Born and raised, and I was born with the birth defect Spina Bifida, and I was actually born with the worst form of it, myelomeningocele, and there are the complications and health issues that go along with Spina Bifida, but just keep going along. That's all you gotta do. All you can do.
You have this company, Derrek's Bags, but in the 33 years, have you been able to work? Have you been able to, maintain full-time job status? What has your work life been like with Spina Bifida?
Well, going back, I first tried back in 2000, all the way back in 2008. After I graduated high school, I tried looking for jobs. I actually applied for Kmart and Sears, I think, to be like the stock shelves and stuff like that. And I went for the interviews. Actually, nobody was there to interview me for both interviews, so I wanted to go to college, and at that time I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I went to the local community college, and I took a computer web design class, and then I decided I wanted to major in business management. So did that. I graduated back in 2016, and while I was in college, I started another online business with a friend of mine. It's called Soldiers and Commanders, and my buddy and I, we sell t-shirts, hoodies, mugs with different military and patriotic sayings, like Proud Army Mom, Proud Army Sister, Proud Navy Mom, stuff like that.
Nice.
We donate to different charities that help veterans.
Do you know if there's a rate of do soldiers actually develop, now that you're talking about this, do soldiers happen to develop Spina Bifida in the battlefield? Is that what you've seen? Is that why you partnered, or was it just because of love of, the efforts of our soldiers?
The love of the efforts of our soldiers. Honestly, I think I'd be in the military. Possibly I'd be in some branch of the military if I didn't have Spina Bifida. I remember recruiters from the Army calling when I was still living with my parents. They would call up and say, "Oh, is Derrek Cooke there?" And I talked to like one or two recruiters, and then I said I'd love to join, but unfortunately I have spina bifida. But also I have a couple family members. They were in the service. Well, actually, like four. One was in the Air Force. My uncle was in the Air Force. My other uncle was in Army, and then my great grandfather, excuse me, he was in the Army as well. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that is great that you give back, and of course, this time of year when we're approaching Veterans Day, always a time to reflect on the soldiers. And so, we'll get to that maybe around Veterans Day as well. I'll talk about more about that. But I want this introductory conversation to also be on the adaptive side for you. So, at 33, you're thriving, you're doing Derrek's bags, and you're helping others as well with their medical needs. Talk about that. And do you feel like this kind of conversation is much needed during the Spina Bifida Awareness Month?
Definitely. Definitely. I think I've been on other podcasts, and I've talked a little bit about this, where I feel like people that don't have spina bifida or some other disability, they just view people with a disability, like, not everybody, but a good amount of people, they view people with a disability like one way, and they could only do so much. For Spina Bifida Awareness Month, I think it is good for people, especially with spina bifida, to bring awareness, like, hey, we're out there. People with spina bifida are out there. We can lead our own lives. We live our own, do work in our own way. So we're just like somebody who doesn't have spina bifida.
Well, that is so true, and I feel like you exemplify it. And people in your daily life, I mean, do you feel like when you were starting to grow your own community, right? You obviously have a community to work with this brand and whatnot. Did you find some able-bodied people were like, they weren't sure how mobile you could be with the disability? Did you find that in connecting with able-bodied people as well?
Younger. When I was younger, nobody really cared about if I was able to get around. I do, even though I have the worst form of spina bifida, I do wear leg braces. I wear a cane. I walk with a cane because several years ago, can't remember the exact year now, but I did have another back surgery, so I walk with a cane, and I do use a wheelchair when I go to Yankee games with my dad.
Okay.
Because it is hard for me to walk long distances. But when I started Derrek's Bags, I just went ahead and started it. There was only like one person at first that knew that I started it. But after I started it, I told my parents, I told other people around me that, hey, I started this business, so I'm doing it.
What can they take away from those with spina bifida who are thriving right now? What can they take away?
They could take away that don't be scared. Don't be scared. Try to keep on living your daily life. Keep doing what you're doing. And I would add too, if you have a dream, no matter what it is, go for it. And if you fail, you fail, I would say.
Obviously, you have a lot of medical equipment. That's why you've created Derrek's Bags. So tell us about the medical equipment that you personally need to use for spina bifida and why these bags you created are so helpful.
Sure. Well, when I started Derrek's Bags, and I realized, well, me personally, I'll start with that. Me personally, my everyday life, even since before I started Derrek's Bags, when I've gone out, I've had to make sure I've had catheters to take with me so I could go to the bathroom, liners for my boxers to put in my boxers so I don't have an accident, and also like just things to wipe myself with. So I've had I realized that there are other people like me who have spina bifida that deal with that as well, and I thought, like, before I started, it's like, okay, before I started Derrek's Bags, I thought, like, all right, there's other people like me who do that, and they do need to carry. How are they carrying it? Carrying all this medical equipment. So I thought, you know what? I'll start a business selling bags, fanny packs, and so other people like me can carry their medical equipment with them when they go out in public.
Yeah, obviously, not carrying in a plastic bag is a benefit because you don't want anybody to see that, because that is your personal business.
Exactly, because I've always, before I started Derrek's Bags, there were like a few times where I did have to carry stuff in plastic bags, and it's like it is embarrassing. So
let me ask you this then: is your clientele spina bifida? You know, those with spina bifida, or have the clientele expanded within Derrek's Bags? Like you got people who don't have spina bifida but still need the catheters and whatnot. Well, what's the clientele like?
It's everybody. It's just not people. It's just not people who need to carry medical equipment with them when they go out. I've had actually the first person that bought it back for me. They said, "Oh, well, I carry. I'm gonna use this bag to carry a basketball." When my boyfriend, they said when their boyfriend and them go play basketball. So I have had other people without spina bifida buy bags from me.
And you know, you just set me off to another question here. What about the design of the bag? I mean, obviously, it has to fit maybe the power chair, the wheelchair, the walker, the crutches. Give us the thoughts on the design.
Some bags, they sell two types of bags, non-adjustable and adjustable, and the size of the nine, they sell 13 by 13, 16 by 16, and 18 by 18 for the non-adjustable bags. And then for the adjustable bags, they're 16 by 16 and 18 by 18. So
are there pockets? There are pockets, right? I'm guessing.
With these bags, unfortunately, there are not pockets, but I am in the process of finding a company that would sell, that would be a supplier to me, that would sell, that would print on bags that have pockets.
Well, let me ask you this, because obviously people know you. You're followed on Twitter. You're everywhere. Derrek's Bags, when you pitched, give us the behind the scenes. When you pitched this to a designer, what was your elevator pitch? I feel like that elevator pitch could be shown as why you should buy the bag as well.
I actually didn't pitch. I didn't pitch my business to anybody. I just, with the experience I had with the business I co-own, Soldiers and Commanders, I just went ahead and found some suppliers for the bags and the other things I sell. I just found suppliers, and then I just made accounts on their websites, and after that, I just started making the designs in Photoshop that are printed on the bags, and I just went ahead and made accounts. I didn't pitch
Sure.
my business to anybody. I just went ahead and made accounts on different supplier sites, and just went ahead and started making designs, and went ahead and made a store on Etsy.
All right, I see that you have positive messages on them. I mean, how important is that? Because obviously, when we have this medical stuff, sometimes it can get us down, or it could be sort of like, oh man, not this again. But I don't look at it like, I think these medical supplies are saving our lives. So how do you, in effect, tell those with the bag, hey, you need these supplies, and it's going to help you out in life? But what's the messages like on there?
The different messages, they are like some of the medical messages, like proud dad or mom of autistic warrior, proud dad or mom of a cerebral palsy warrior, same thing, but except Down syndrome, then spina bifida, multiple sclerosis, and then also when I started Derrek's Bags too, I just felt like the world can be a depressing place, and there needs to be positivity in it, more positivity in it.
Amen.
So I just thought believe in yourself, be a nice human, be a good human, stuff like that. So I just went ahead and did that too.
We talk about a lot about adaptation, right, on my podcast.
Right.
And what's the biggest adaptation you've ever had to make with spina bifida? And I feel like your parents had to have made an incredible adjustment. I mean, you're a great guy, so your parents have been there every step of the way, it seems like. But talk about the adaptation first for you, and then for your parents.
Well, when I was, if I could start when I was born. Before I was born, my parents didn't even know I had spina bifida. They didn't go and get the ultrasounds, so they didn't know. And thankfully, there was a doctor, a pediatric doctor, in the operating room who knew right away, like, oh, I have spina bifida, and I was transferred down. I was born in Goshen, New York, and then I was transferred down to Westchester Medical Center. So right away, like, my parents had to. I feel like my parents right away knew they had to be advocates for me. So they had to adapt really quick, and thankfully there was a spina bifida clinic down at Westchester Medical Center. So all these doctors, they would take me down, and we would see all the doctors and everything. So at first they really had to adjust to everything, and they had to deal with me being in the hospital for a few months when I was first born, and so they really had to adapt to that. And then for me, the biggest adaptation I think I would say I had to make was I'll admit I am alone. Even though I do have the 2 businesses, I am a loner. I like to have a few friends, and yeah, I do like to talk to people, but I like to keep to myself. So the biggest adaptation, I would say, was when I moved out of my parents' house, and I had to learn to do everything on my own and all that. And yeah, I would say that was the biggest adaptation I ever had to do, because when I was younger, I just knew, all right, I have what I have, deal with it, I'll just roll with stuff. And then, yeah, I would say moving out was the biggest adaptation I had to
Okay, we'll talk about moving out, and I love this because I feel like there's a stigma between able-bodied people and they don't think that someone with disability can move out. Can we be honest about that? They don't know if we can actually move out.
Right.
But here you are smashing that stigma. How does that feel?
It feels great. It feels great. I've been almost living on my own. It'll be in December. It'll be, let's see, 7 years this December. I'll be living on my own, and it feels great. I feel like the other people that live in the building here, they don't really look down on me or anything. But it does feel great. I remember, I want to say, the first summer I was living here. I want to say, yeah, it was the first summer I was living here. My dad came up to me. I was over at my parents' house one day for a little bit, and I remember my dad asking me, "Oh, are you fine living on your own? Be honest with me." I was like, "Oh, I love it." But yeah, I agree with you. There is a big stigma of non-disabled people thinking that, they're gonna people with disabilities, no matter what disability, people that don't have a disability, they just feel like, somebody with a disability, they're always gonna live with their parents, they're never gonna move out, all that stuff, and it's ridiculous, because I know we're talking about myself here a little bit, but sure. I'm not the only person that has a disability that lives on their own. There are other people in the world who have disabilities and they're living on their own. To me, it's ridiculous that in 2023, there are still people who feel like, if somebody has a disability, they're always going to live on their own, all that stuff. No, that's ridiculous. We're not living in the 1950s, 1940s, 1950s, where if somebody has a disability, they're gonna be living in a home. It's not the 1940s, 1950s anymore. It's ridiculous, people's opinions.
Back in those days, we weren't even allowed to have an opinion. Am I right? That's what it felt like.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. It's like we were second class. People with disabilities were like second-class citizens, and in a way, yeah, it's, for what I've seen on Twitter, and I'll admit, yeah, I've been around people with disabilities, but not enough where I've seen everybody's opinions, but being on Twitter, it's really opened my eyes to people's opinions and the fight that people with disabilities still have to do in 2023. It's ridiculous.
Well, I know that traveling with Gabby is not always easy because the subways are still not as accessible as they should be, but that's a different topic for another day. I got to ask you about the hospitals, meaning obviously the hospitals took great care of you, but are you working with them at all to get these bags in the hospital for doctors to supply? I think that's a great idea.
It is a great idea. I'm glad you brought that up. I actually try. I'm gonna email them again. Helen Hayes. I tried emailing them and asking them if I could like sell my bags in a gift shop or anywhere down there. No response. And I live like I don't know how many blocks. It's like 5-10 minutes away. There's a hospital, St. Luke's Cornwall Hospital.
Sure.
I live about like 5-10 minutes away. I have messaged them. I emailed them asking them, hey, can I sell my bags in your gift shop? No response. But yeah, I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep trying to see if I could supply my bags or sell my bags in hospitals.
The suppliers of the caths themselves, would you ever work with them, meaning like a Active Style or someone like that? Would you ever partner with them? Hey, in addition to the cath, when you send it, here's a bag that comes along with it. What do you think about that?
Oh, that would be great. I do right now. I get the catheters not directly from the catheter maker. I don't know where you get your catheters through, but I get the catheters I use through Byram Healthcare. But I should contact them. I had not thought about that.
It's kind of funny because I know that the bag is supposed to be secret, but here we are opening every door, right? So it's kind of funny how
exactly
life is like that.
Exactly.
But that's because we're not worried about it, and I think that maybe it's good to have this conversation about having caths. Because let's face it, Derrek, there could be someone today starting a catheterization program, not knowing what the F to do. You know what I mean? So maybe this conversation inspires them. I don't know.
I hope it does. I hope it does inspire them.
Is that your goal, or I feel like your goal isn't to be inspirational, it's to be a realist about what we deal with on an everyday basis? Would you agree?
Yes, I'm not out to be an inspiration, because if somebody were to come up to me and say like, "Hey, are you Derrek from Derrek's Bags?" I'd be like, "Yeah." And then if they say like, "Oh, you're an inspiration," if they say that to me, will I feel good? Yes. But not to put that down. I'm not. But I'm not. My goal is not to be an inspiration. I'm trying to be I am trying to be a realist here.
And a businessman. So tell me about the economics of this. I mean, obviously, you've got a lot of bags made now. So what's your goal, and what is your hope as far as building the business?
My goal is hopefully to sell the bags in hospitals and other stores, and to just grow it like that, and just still have my Etsy, still have the Etsy store. I am currently working on putting bag listings on eBay and Zazzle right now. But yeah, my goal is to more storefronts and also hospitals as well.
Well, yeah, obviously the hospitals, and how about are you out in front of it? Meaning, are you out doing fundraisers? Are you sort of putting those together as well while you're building this medical bag empire, if you will?
I am not. For social media. I do put out like I only use Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I mostly use that, but I do since it's October and for Spina Bifida Awareness Month, I am donating 100% of profits to the Spina Bifida Association, and I do have a video. I put out on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it.
Are you involved with the state, by the way? The New York State Association, Joe Salonica, who I know for years, is actually a board member there. Are you involved with that or association?
No, I don't. I have not contacted them. I've never been involved with them. I just have donated to the main, the main association that's based down in Washington, D.C.
Well, maybe I'll connect you guys, because I'd love to get you guys connected here. This is what I love about this podcast. It leads to something new, you know? So I'd love to make that connection for you, because I think what you're doing here is a service. All right, real fast. Testimonials. Have you heard from people that have used the bag? Oh my God, this is a lifesaver. This has changed. This has helped me adapt to real life circumstances with this bag alone.
Yeah. I did have somebody back in, I forget what month, but sometime this year, I sold a bag, and they said, I got a message back saying, it's not so much a testimonial, but they said, like, oh, I'm going to use this bag to put my medical supplies in it. And then I just said, okay. I responded back, okay, great. That's what I started this company for. So for people like you. So.
Is it light? I know that sometimes if we wear heavy bags with our equipment, it can weigh down our whole system and those who walk. Is it light for those who walk and can carry it?
Yes, it is light. I do. Actually, I know people will be only hearing us, but yes, it is light. I actually have a bag, the bag I use right here. It is light. It is definitely light for people to carry. It is. The bags are light. They are easy to carry. They definitely are.
Well, I might put that as part of my podcast, because sometimes I take these clips anyway. If you don't mind, I might share that, because that's a great little visual of the bag itself. So I'd love to promote that and help you get the word out about this, because as someone with medical supplies, obviously we're all looking for a leg up, and I feel like these bags could help you get a leg up in life. Would you agree?
Oh, I would definitely agree. I would agree, because they're just I will just say this, it is definitely easier to carry medical supplies in the bag, and the bag I just showed you is a bag I sell on my cell. It is definitely easier than just carrying it in a paper bag or a plastic bag or any other type of bag. It's definitely easier.
Just Spina Bifida, because I don't have that. I just have something where my bladder is kind of like, I can't feel it as much. So does Spina Bifida cut off your sensation, or are you still able to tell? I'm only asking because I'm just curious if a lot of people need catheters on an everyday basis. I don't know if that's the same for you, but I feel like every minute, if you have to use the bathroom, it's always the catheter, right?
Yes. No. I with the Spina Bifida I have, I do need to. I don't know if this is the case for everybody with Spina Bifida, but with I do have to use every time I need to go to the bathroom and need to use a catheter. I definitely need to use a catheter. So,
is there a shame? Maybe not for you, although we've talked about that a little bit. Is there a shame that you find people have of using a cath? Is that why they want them to be stored in such a private way? Or is it more of a privacy thing, I guess, right?
I would say it's just more of a privacy thing. I would definitely say that, because me personally, not to sound full of myself, but me personally, I am more of a private person. I don't want anybody to really. I know I have a business. I know I put myself out there, but with certain things, I do not want people knowing my business. So for me, it's more of a privacy thing. And even before I started my business, it's been a privacy. It's always been a privacy issue with me. It's never. Well, I take that back. Before I started my business, I would have to every school year, not except college, every school year before the school year started, I would have to go to a nurse and take a box. Actually, I would take a box with either my mom or dad, and we would go to the nurse and say all right, I got it. When I have to use catheters and to go to when I go to the bathroom, and when I was younger, I would say when I was younger, it was more of a shame thing, and a mix of a privacy thing too. I knew people would see my braces and stuff like that, but they wouldn't know oh, I gotta use catheters. So it was more of a privacy thing too, as well. So,
this idea seems to have sprung up also. Where did you get the idea from? Was it strictly personal experience, or was it a combination of, all right, people are telling me their own issues about handling medical supplies?
It was more of me and my personal experience, but then I thought in my head all right, there are other people like me who need to use catheters when they go to the bathroom, and there are people who need to use other medical devices and stuff, and incontinence supplies, stuff like that. So I just thought of that as well. But when I did start it, it was more okay, I do this, and I know that other people do as well.
All right. Oh my God, I could talk to you for an hour, dude. This has been great because I feel a connection here, and the other flip side of this is that there are so many that say, oh my God, so much medical supplies to carry with me, so many bags to carry with me. How do you make it simpler for everybody to just reduce it to literally one bag? Is that your goal?
Yeah, it is my goal. It is my goal. And if anybody listening to this podcast is all right, can you sell a bigger bag? I'll definitely work with you. But yeah, it is my goal. It is definitely my goal for anybody that has any medical supplies that they carry around. It is my goal for them to just have one bag. It is my goal.
Well, Derrek's Bags, DERREK. On that note, thanks so much, and we'll do this again sometime, all right?
Thank you, Alex. I would love that.
Follow him at Derrek's Bags. You'll see the link in the description below. I'm Alex Garrett on the adapting side of the network.